Scotland has set high standards in food production. By Ross Finney, Chair, Food Standards Scotland. The food industry is an ever-changing landscape. We have already seen an increase in concern in relation to food after the vote to leave the EU in 2016, and that brings with it fresh challenges. 64% of the public in Scotland are worried that the price of food will go up once we leave the EU. If the price of food was to rise, there could be an increased possibility that companies may cut corners to keep the price of their products down and defraud the public. As a food and feed regulator, we need to stay ahead of these developments in order to provide the reassurance that people need. There can be no doubt in our minds that the high standards which have been set in Scotland must not suffer in the run-up to, nor after, the UK leaving the EU. Now more than ever, the board at Food Standards Scotland feel we must look to the future so we can effectively manage emerging trends which will have an impact on the food industry and the nation. We are the first regulator to have signed an information sharing agreement with the Food Industry Intelligence Network. This will improve not only our relationships with the food industry, but it will also help put a stop to those who are willing to take advantage of responsible food businesses and us, the public. We must be able to have confidence and trust in the food that we buy. All of us at Food Standards Scotland feel it is important that any of the work we do puts the Scottish people first. Our Scottish Food Crime and Incidents Unit and our scientists who specialise in food safety are working on improving our capability to detect, deter, detain and divert potential illegal practices. The risks from food crime can damage not only the health and finances of people in Scotland but also the reputations and livelihoods of honest food businesses. It is worth remembering the vast majority of people in the food and feed sector deliver high standards day in day out because it is their livelihood. Exploring the new technologies available to us keeps us ahead of potential fraudsters who might thinking about profiteering and damaging the well-deserved reputation that Scotland has for food and drink. We are currently looking at stable isotope techniques which can determine the geographical origin of beef sold at processing, retail and catering establishments in Scotland. This work will support investigations and surveillance activities to protect the public from food fraud relating to the origin of beef. It is also vital that we begin to cast our net wider. Food is a part of our lives which connects us all. Import and export markets mean that food is able to really transcend borders, and given the amount of food we import, we must ensure that the availability of food does not decrease. This week we gathered experts and representatives from around the globe to give us some fresh thinking on food at our first conference in Edinburgh, which took place yesterday. Tackling food issues at home is our starting point, but to share our knowledge, our experiences, and compare them with the challenges being faced around the world is equally invaluable. We must not forget these challenges are across a wide range of disciplines. Scotland needs an effective and outward-looking regulator which is recognized and has influence on a worldwide scale so that the good work we have already achieved does not go to waste. The conference covered 4 areas which are of a major interest to Food Standards Scotland: diet and obesity, future food trends, crime and authenticity, and food safety. All of which are vitally important if we are to maintain Scotland's well-deserved reputation as the land of food and drink.